Hi, this is Luciana Paulise. Today we're interviewing Guibert Englebienne, which is a big pleasure for me to having you today. And he is the Chief Technology Officer and co-founder at Globant. It's a company that has, correct me if I'm wrong, more than 15,000 employees all around the world. Is that right, Guibert?
That's correct. Yes. Pleasure
Wonderful.
to talk to you.
Wonderful. So it's a software company that has a lot to do with remote work. So they are gonna, Giver is going to talk about today about future of work. And there's many things, a lot of research that you've done on that. So we're eager to hear. Please.
Okay, pleasure to talk to you, Luciana. And it's great to talk about this subject. I believe that, it's almost a year since the pandemic started, and definitely there has been a massive shift in how people work. And that's something that, I believe, I remember when it was the first week after we started to quarantine and isolate ourselves, that I had the opportunity to talk in a webinar. And I was saying, hey, this week you're going to be thinking on if I have a computer, if I have internet connectivity, but next week, beware, because you're going to start to think, okay, is my team there? Are they alive? Am I still useful for my team? And all those kind of things definitely started to happen. We have shifted from overnight from our workplace into, we were like surpassed by a tsunami that crashed us on a beach, and suddenly we found ourselves all wet and not prepared in many cases. We were surprised to see that still we had some things that we could use, but definitely there were many realizations that the attempting to serve the digital transformation way was not done properly and on time by the time the tsunami hit. So with that, we've been, we continue to work a lot as an extremely fast-growing company that we started 18 years ago and grew to 17 countries and wow, more than 15,000 people. First of all, there was a lot of work at Globant on how do we create a strong culture despite the geographical distribution and despite the scale of our company, which I believe today is extremely relevant because of the kind of environment everybody is facing. So a lot of things to do, and yes, we've been, I understand you read a report that we asked our friends from Forrester to do on how companies have faced this distribution and this new dynamic, and the results are showing that that they were not ready, that they are in the need to actually foster a sense of unity, of a very strong culture despite this distribution. We continue to onboard new employees every day, employees that are not seen at offices, and many of them are already starting to shift to other organizations. So as a result of that, what kind of experience have you offered? What kind of employer brand are you building? Those are questions that we need to ask, because this is here to stay.
Right. No, all the topics that you mentioned are so important, because I've interviewed many companies and they always said, yeah, we moved from one week to the other. We all moved, the software, the computers, blah, blah, blah. But what about the culture, right? And you said it right. Maybe, the first months, they don't realize about that. They think everything's fine. But through time, it's going to be more difficult. And even with the new hires, how you make sure they have the same culture, the same values, because now they need to make decisions on their own, right? That's part of of this remote work, they don't have the team lead to ask all the time, right?
Well, we don't have many things. I believe we have lost many of our senses. We don't have the vision to see on the eyes of our coworkers and see, hey, I need to speak to Luciana, or the ears to hear that something was brewing
The
next to
gossips.
you. Yeah. No, you were okay. Oh, these guys are talking about this or that, So there's something brewing. I may add some value to that conversation. I may ignore it, and definitely, but at least it won't surprise me when that happens. Okay, something's brewing, and now I know. The thing is how, when you don't know anything and you are isolated and linearly following a series of Zooms, meetings, you know what you know, and you talk to the people that you have scheduled. But how do you bring some of that randomness into the workplace? We believe that's a key important thing, and we've been working a lot on that. And you got it right. Culture has always been extremely important. Drucker said that culture eats strategy for breakfast.
Right.
And we all tend to agree. But what I'm surprised to know is that if so important, then why we don't have systems to manage it?
Exactly.
It has been left to the chance, and the reality is that every organization has a culture, but typically is the result of a mix of factors, like the quality of their leaders, the kind of space you are, the industry, the country where we operate.
Yeah, it's not intended.
It's not intended. It's not by design.
Right.
And so the idea is, if you are able to create a culture is a habit around certain behaviors. If you have that habit created, then you don't need to restore to micromanagement. You can give a lot of autonomy, because people will act as if they were a founder.
Exactly.
So that's what really kept me awake, 14, 15 years ago, when we designed an experiment, which was to not only to outline, what were our values and our proposed behaviors, but we also empower every member of the organization to become a guardian of our culture. How did we do it? We gave a number of stars, which is like a virtual currency, limited, empowering them for the first time to say, hey, if I see something that is right, if you stay with me last night helping me to end up my project, I'll give you a star for being a team player. If
But you don't need to be a supervisor, right? That's
no,
the
key. You can be,
I mean, anyone can reward anyone.
Anyone can do it.
Wow.
We know today, after 14 years of being exposed to social networks, we know a lot about what drives us as humans. And the feedback that we receive, and the appreciation, the ability to create a reputation, is what help us, what make us tick, and what make us go every day to applications like Instagram or Facebook or other social networks. So at the end, we need to say that technology has blended with ourselves in a manner that if you forgot your phone when going to the office, back in the days you were going to the office, certainly you would go back to your office, to your house, to pick it up. But by the time you reach your destination, the office, you see that every kind of solution that you have at the workplace has been focused on transactional data. So you have ERP, CRMs, communications tools, but you don't have something that mimics those emotional aspects that you get on those applications that we love so much in our private lives. So I believe that we felt there was a need to actually create something on the intersection, capturing emotions at the workplace, and using those emotions to drive insights that can help us drive our day-to-day activities. So as I like to call it, is we are using technology to expand our humanity,
right?
Allowing us to connect better and more profoundly to the people that we have. And also, I believe that this is an evolution. If you think on, for quite a long time, companies have been struggled to attract digital talent or talent that is digitally native. Okay, they don't see that these organizations can offer a good place to develop yourself. So, but they are pivoting to organizations who can offer a clear sense of purpose, meritocracy, fast-paced learning environment, where their voice can be heard, where they can be recognized, and so I believe that this creating an environment that is focused on the employee is key, and that now we need to be obsessed with creating such an environment, which is not only transactional, but it blends emotions. So that's what we've been working on quite a lot, because I believe that the human factor is the one that gets that becomes an obstacle when trying to successfully transform for digital.
Right, but what a challenge, right? Because I think that in the past, companies were, as you were saying, more transactional. Then you're trying to go to the more emotional side. When you go out of your office, you have all these open spaces where you, as a leader, as the CTO, I imagine that you go around and try to see what's going on. And then you have to go back to your small office when you can't see everything. You're at home, and it's like you go back to square one, but you still, now you know that the emotional part is important, and that you as a role model, your behaviors are important. So how you as a leader go with the challenge?
Well, I guess there are many things. Definitely, chances of people meeting a founder, across the aisles in an office was much likely in the old days, not today. But still, I believe that if you are a leader of an organization and you want to say, hey, we are going in that direction, then you need to prove that you are serious about it. So by empowering everyone to recognize actions in the direction that you said, okay, this is what we strive for, it makes you a credible leader. On top of that, definitely you need to add some serendipity to your life, to your daily life. So we've been developing something that we call AI-assisted serendipity, in which we say, okay, we assign a slot of time and the system and certain preferences, and the system creates a Zoom meeting with people that we didn't know, but perhaps but shares our same passions, or they are extremely influential in subjects about sustainability, for example. So we create those spaces, and the system then populates the Zoom meeting with all the players that I should know about. So, for example, I may say, hey, I want to have an hour with new people coming into my office into the organization this month. Or I would like to know ambassadors of our culture in Colombia and India, for example.
Wow.
So boom, they brings me. Or I want to know people who are disconnecting from our culture that are on my team. Or I want to know people who knows about this industry, or
So you can pick on people that are disconnected with the culture. That's interesting.
Yeah, definitely. What we found was that these systems of engagement are important to actually understand that perhaps part of your team is disengaging, and as a result of that, we are able to predict attrition and also to suggest connections. That was, reducing attrition is a key problem for many organizations.
Right.
And what we discovered was that the fact that people were recognized, not perhaps by the CEO, but because of by their peers, played a key role into them willing to stay in the organization. So if you create, if you place the organization into a framework that allows people to recognize one another, that is a good starting point.
Mm-hmm.
Then, if you have the ability to analyze with AI the certain interactions, you may solve problems that before you couldn't solve. For example, predicting attrition, creating a more diverse and inclusive environment. For example, I believe that the people is obsessed with how many women you have on your board, and I don't believe that that's the question we need to ask.
Quotas, right? Always thinking about numbers.
We need about numbers, and the real question that we should answer is how likely is that a trainee can, regardless of their gender, their origin, whatever, how likely is that they can develop up to the board meeting, and I believe that a key lever for that is social capital. How do you increase the visibility of persons within the enterprise? So, for example, if at Globant, if you look at someone, you can see their DNA regarding the culture. What kind of composition they have? Why are they recognized? So we give some color to each of us. Wow. So we have a personality. We have the ability to show each of us who we are, and that creates a good environment where people will remember, hey, I remember Luciana, I met her here or there. So we are able to break that
everything is starting up in the system. Wow.
Yeah, we use that for not only for understanding who's who and giving some color to the value that everyone brings to the organization. But we see that after giving that color, you are able to remember and to connect better to more people. If you think about, the problem we have today is that we are living out of the stock of relations that we were able to build during the time at the workplace. So I was talking to my team yesterday, and I said, hey, I haven't seen yourself. I haven't had a beer with you in a year. But still, it feels like, okay, we've been always. I don't believe that the relationship has gone bad because of that. Because we have certain level of trust that now we don't need to see each other.
Right.
The problem is not with the stock; is with the flow. How do we connect to customers that we still don't know? While according to our survey, still the vast majority of revenues were coming from in-person sales activities. The same thing. Yeah, the same things applies with a newcomer to the organization. How much opportunity you give to a newcomer to actually show what value they can bring and to understand the environment they are coming and getting excited about it.
Build that stock of trust, right? When you don't even know them. You didn't even get that beer with them.
Yes, that's correct.
Wow. Yeah, that's amazing. So I was reading this report and was talking about the adaptive workforce. So what can you tell me more about that? Because that's a major term.
Yes, there are many things that this pandemic is adapting. As I like, in pretty much every role, there are important skills that you need to develop in order to do it over the wire. Sales is an example. How do you train your salespeople to actually connect and establish a good connection with potential customers? How do you lead a team that is fully distributed? That's on top of the opportunity that today having a more flexible time management, and the reality is the vast majority of us has been training themselves through digital channels.
Mm-hmm.
So I believe that upskilling your workforce is key. It's not just that. We need to think profoundly on all our workforce, on the way we develop each of us, the way we give enough feedback so we can speed up our development.
Mm-hmm.
Is key. The feedback systems are an essential component of moving faster into your career. And also developing a flexible career path that will allow you to get all sorts of experiences and learnings, and then adding more color again to your career, because more color gives you more opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
So developing all those systems to propel the employee experience in a manner that makes the best for our teams in terms of development. I'm sure it will bring the best of the potential for the organization itself.
Right. So this is for technical skills, but also for cultural fit too. How do you develop that if you want to be intended on specific culture?
Well, I believe that, as I was saying, culture is around establishing a clear set of rules that they cannot be too many. People need to understand their objective. You need to give teams empowerment. You have seen it in agility.
Mm-hmm.
When the software industry found a solution to many projects that were failing, they did it by creating agile ways of development.
The self-organizing teams, right?
Yeah. Well, self-organizing,
Mm-hmm.
giving more visibility, relying more on frequent visibility than on a document with requirements.
Right.
So if you think about that, was getting more nimble and more autonomous became the solution for executing one software project. I believe that culture, a strong culture that everyone can understand and can be fostering in a distributed manner at scale, is key to make an adaptable organization that can thrive in the times we are living.
And in changing times.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, I believe that this year has been the year in which we finally signed our partnership with technology. And I believe that the future of organization lies in organizations that are hybrids, where technology can empower and expand the ability of humans to do their task. According to our survey, there are 88% of organizations are trying to automate a lot of tasks.
Right.
But I believe that that there's an opportunity into expanding that. For example, 5 years ago at Globant, we made a significant step, which was to train 100% of our workforce to understand what AI meant, what were the different type of AIs that you could apply, what kind of problems you could solve, with the aim that people in every corner of the organization would identify different opportunities to apply AI in their daily work. Fast forward 5 years, and today we are using AI to code better and to code faster. So developers are being assisted by an AI in a time in which you don't have someone next to you to continuously ask for questions or to get mentoring. We use AI to recruit better, comparing our candidates with with previous interviews and the data that we have on how our candidates perform at the end of the day after being recruited. We use it to design better, to share knowledge better, to identify that someone was on different parts of the organization working on the same thing. So the potential is enormous.
So this is not about replacing people, right? Because throughout the history, people are always scared that robots are gonna take our jobs, and we will need less people to work in the offices. And really, they are it's like empowering them more, but they are not replacing them, right? We still need both talents.
I guess there are there's definitely a change of era in terms of we are moving into a knowledge era in which the works there are companies who are thriving. We are growing very fast, and the problem we have on the knowledge economy is not replacing people, is getting more people into our team and empowering them. Okay, there are other activities who maybe will be changed, but
maybe the more transactionals, right?
There are, it's more transactional. They are more prone to automation. So I believe that companies should play a significant role into developing the people. I believe that in many cases the education system in many countries is not moving fast enough as the private sector can do it. So we need to act upon that, and actually we are working heavily on that.
Oh, really? What are you doing? What are your projects?
We recently launched a 2-year career in partnership with Mercado Libre.
Yeah, I read that. Interesting.
And Digital House, and we got a lot of attention. So many people wants to join into a career that is that promise to keep you relevant. We have a lot of challenge in front of us, and there will be a significant transformation. So young people are noticing that, and that's good.
Wow, that's amazing. All this, how the future of work is moving, how all companies are moving, and you are in the right direction, right? Maybe you were on all of these things before, and we all thought, well, it's just because it's a software company or an IT company, but now it's everyone needs to be into all these things. AI is not just for IT, but it's for everyone. Is that right?
Yes, definitely. And digital is not about doing digital, it's about being digital.
Oh, wow. Amazing. Well, thank you very much, Guibert. I don't know if there's anything else that you'd like to talk about, or any advice you'd like to leave us with, or
I guess that the only thing that I would like to point out is that we need to take a look at the the readiness of our organizations, the fitness of our organizations in a broader manner, and understand that there is a human component that can make it or break it, and you need to take care about that.
So it's something intentional. You have to really focus on that. It won't come easy, and it won't come like that. You just have to work on that.
Yes.
Amazing. Thank you very much, Guibert. It was a pleasure. So thank you very much. And this was Luciana with Guibert Englebienne, CTO and founder of Globant. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.